Okay, so welcome back to the channel, and today we are talking about something that has been plaguing the fashion industry. So today I'm talking about the cancel culture and virtue signaling in the fashion industry. So if you don't know what virtue signaling is, it's when people don't put their money where their mouth is. So a good example and kind of like example of what virtue signaling would be in the real world would be, for example, when a celebrity says that they don't like how refugees are treated in the country, and they don't like how refugees are not given housing. But then these same celebrities have 5 houses all across one country, and they have like 10 bedrooms each. And these are empty houses, but they don't house refugees. But then they say things like, oh, we want refugees, you know, to have housing and stuff like that. So virtue signaling is basically like saying things that give you the moral high ground and make you appear that you're morally better than others because you have a certain opinion, but you don't actually, what you do doesn't match with the things you say. That would be virtue signaling. So a celebrity that said the exact same thing but actually housed a refugee in one of their spare houses wouldn't be virtue signaling, essentially, even though they're saying the same thing, because they're not doing something solely and specifically to seem morally better than others, because they're acting upon it. So this kind of mentality, and it's so annoying, has kind of sifted into the fashion industry, and now you see a lot of people cancelling brands and virtue signaling all over the place. And I wanted to just talk about it in general, because it's something that really annoys me. And the reason I'm making this video, actually, it's a response to all the videos I've made on controversial stuff like the Prada blackface and all the blackface that's been happening. And the point I always make in those videos is I don't think it's intentional. I don't think what the brands have been doing is intentional, but I think it's just negligence. And a lot of people have been saying, oh, you're an Uncle Thom and blah, 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 blah. But okay, let me just give the background of basically my life so people understand where I'm coming from. So, born and bred, I was born and bred in London, lived in London my whole life. London is multicultural, so there's white people, black people, Asians, so Indian. So I know about a lot of different cultures, right? Then part of my secondary school, I did that in Nigeria. So obviously everyone in Nigeria is black. So I'd never been in a situation where I've seen how white people who are just around white people think. And the first time that happened was when I went to 6th form. So I don't know how I'd describe 6th form A-levels to Americans. It's like in England, like the education system, you do 2 years separate from secondary school and then you go to university. So the A-levels I went to, every single person was white, like everyone. And it was in an area where everyone was white. So I think my mentality on how some people think started to change once I went to that school. And I'm sure you're wondering how. So how is like, those type of people, right? They're intelligent academically, but in terms of common sense, like things you would expect them to just know, they don't. And I think that's just my ignorance coming from London as multicultural, and like all the white people I met in London knew about my culture and Indian culture and stuff. But you can't really expect that from a white person who's lived in a white area. And those type of people, they don't even know that blackface exists. Those type of people, they don't even know anything about black culture because they haven't had to face it. They have no black friends. They've never met any black people. They're not affected by black problems. So think about it logically. Why would they have to think or learn about black culture? Because a counter argument to what a lot of people say to me is, well, you're giving white people excuses. It's 2019. White people should know about things that affect black people. But it's like, how can that be an expectation though, if white people who have lived with white people their whole life in a white area, had no black friends, no Asian friends, which was basically the school I went to. The school I went to, literally, people are telling me like I'm the first black person they've ever talked to in their whole life, which is crazy. So these are the type of guys that then become executives at big brands like Gucci, Prada, and stuff like that. And then they have these blackface and controversies. So I feel like the best way to tackle things like this is to educate people and call people out when they're wrong. So I'm a big fan of calling people out. If someone does blackface, then make it a big thing, call them out. But this whole like cancelled culture and this whole virtue signaling, especially the one that pisses me off is what celebrities do. Because celebrities will be like, Gucci is cancelled, Gucci is this, Gucci is that. And the same people, they don't even support black brands though. Like, I see it from a lot of like black celebs, and they say things like, oh, cancel Gucci, cancel Moncler, support black businesses. That's what they always say. And you know they're virtue signaling because they don't actually support black businesses. They don't support black designers like Virgil Abloh, Grace Wells Bonner, Martine Rose. They don't buy brands like Pia Moss. They don't support, what's this guy, Helmut Lang, Shane Oliver. They don't support designers like that, Oswald Boateng. So it's like, this whole cancel culture is so stupid. And another reason why I find it so dumb is, oh my God. So every brand, in my opinion, has some sort of dark history to it. So if you're going to cancel a brand for blackface, like Gucci or Prada or whatever, you have to keep that same energy. So if you're wearing H&M and you're cancelling Gucci, well, H&M, the way H&M clothes are made, sorry to break it to you, but there are people working in factories for cents a day, living in less than like normal living conditions. And these are the same people that, some of these guys die because the working conditions are so bad. In some of these factories, there have been so many cases where factories of fast fashion brands collapse on people and everyone dies. So people actually lose their lives for stuff like this. So also when you buy fast fashion, you're saying Gucci should be cancelled because they made a mistake and like they did one blackface thing. Then it's just like, it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense, which is why this whole virtue signaling and cancel culture really doesn't make any sense. Like, I just think people don't have perspective. And I think why I'm so objective is because I've lived in so many different places. I've lived in London, which is very multicultural. I've lived in Africa, which is amongst just black people who have that mentality. Then I've lived in a place where it's just white people. So I've lived in a lot of different perspectives to see how different people think and whether it's ignorance and whether it's attributed to maybe them just, you know, being raised around just white people or just black people or whatever, or being multicultural, and how that affects how they think. So I think, to be honest, the best way to combat things like racism that happens is education, not this whole cancel culture and boycotting and all this like rubbish. But another thing I find even more funny is when people cancel brands that they don't even wear. So you have people cancelling brands and saying Burberry's cancelled and stuff, but it's like they've never bought any Burberry piece. So how can you even cancel Burberry? Like, how can you cancel a brand you don't even like you don't even invest in? It just doesn't make any sense to me. However, me being very critical and being you know, seeing all the sides to it, there are definitely situations and brands that they are definitely racist. It's not by mistake. So for example, Dolce & Gabbana, Dolce & Gabbana is just problematic. That's like, there are brands like that as well, but that's the first one that comes to my head. So it's like, some brands actually do, like, let me not say deserve to be cancelled, but like, just don't support them. But it's just like, yeah, it's just this whole virtue signaling thing that really gets on my nerves. I really wanted to talk about it as a response to the comments that people have been making on my videos. But if we think from a fashion perspective, there are some legendary designers who, if they made clothes in 2019, they would literally be called all sorts of names. Whereas back then, when people weren't so quick to virtue signal and cancel, people could see the artistic value in it. And I think in fashion, at least, to be fashion specific, it's very important that designers can quote unquote be edgy. So when I think of designers, I'm talking about people like Vivienne Westwood, who kind of did provocative things when she was first coming up, and that's what made her big. Or someone like Alexander McQueen, who when he was alive, his type of designs were very thought-provoking, and stuff like that. And it's like, there's also an artistic side to why some people do very offensive things, and it's not because like they hate. So for example, Vivienne Westwood, there are swastikas on a lot of her vintage tees and stuff, and it's not because they hated Jews and stuff like that. It was actually because, from the artistic sense, the kind of like punk rock scene was kind of against, it was anti-establishment. So they were just doing whatever could piss people off, essentially, and they knew that would piss people off. So also context is very important before people just start doing this whole virtue signaling and like cancel culture and stuff. And this is just a personal thing, but I just feel like celebrities, YouTubers, influencers, whatever, I think they jump on these like, oh, that so-and-so brand is cancelled, all for likes, retweets, subscribers, followers, and views, to be honest. Yeah, that's just my personal opinion. And I also think it's okay to disagree with someone's opinion. It's okay to disagree with what I'm saying today, but hating someone for disagreeing with you is quite stupid, in my opinion, is what I've seen a lot of people do. And like I said, it's also okay to criticize brands when they do something wrong. And a good example I want to give of where this is fashion specific is someone like Demeulemeester. So Demeulemeester has kind of been historically known for only casting white models, and his model castings were never diverse at the start. And when people started asking him, asking Demna why he only casts white models, he said, I never thought about it, I just never knew. And when I think about it, going back to the school I went to where everyone was white, these guys, everyone is white. They don't meet anyone who isn't white. The whole place is white. All their friends are white. Everyone they know is white. So when it comes to that type of person, if they become a designer and they do model castings, they're going to cast all white people unless someone challenges them and says, oh, why don't you cast white models? And then you can have that conversation and educate them about how the world isn't their little city that they live in that's all white, which is fine. Education is fine, but this whole boycotting. So imagine back then people had boycotted Demeulemeester for something innocent. He just did not think, it didn't occur to him to cast non-white models. It's just how it is. That's life. Like, people learn through education. If you cancel someone, they're not going to learn, are they? They're just going to be pissed off and nothing gets solved and nothing gets fixed. So personally, if I see a brand doing something I personally don't like, I'll call it out, but I definitely won't say it's cancelled, and I definitely won't boycott it because it just doesn't make sense. Like, it just doesn't make sense. I'll be a hypocrite if I do that. And yeah, you can like not support a brand without trying to virtue signal and like tell everyone that this brand is cancelled. For example, I won't buy Louis Vuitton so far as Virgil Abloh is the head of menswear there, because I think he doesn't deserve that position. But that's just the personal, that's my personal preference. I think Virgil Abloh is there because he's good at making sales, and I feel like LVMH, they've kind of like gotten rid of their artistic integrity just because they're trying to make money, and I get it, they're a company, but I don't really care about stuff like that. I care more about the artistic stuff, which is why personally I won't invest in Louis Vuitton until there's a new designer there. But that doesn't mean I hate Virgil Abloh or like Virgil Abloh is cancelled. It just, man, that stuff makes no sense. It just makes no sense.